Nobody quits dividend investing because they picked the wrong stocks. They quit because of how long it makes them wait. And most people are betting on the single slowest way to get paid. In this video, John starts with a $10 a day strategy. First, he runs it through the S&P 500, the fund everybody starts with. And you'll see how long it takes that to reach $5,000 a month in income. Then he swaps it for 5 dividend stocks on that same $10 a day and watches the timeline collapse to 22 years, 5 times faster. And in the end, I'll show you how John, with a slightly higher daily contribution, hits that same $5,000 a month even faster. Okay, so first, what are we even doing here? Living off dividends just means owning enough shares that the companies you're invested in pay you regularly a slice of their profit sent to you in cash, usually every quarter. Build that up high enough, and those payments start covering your actual life. That's the whole game. John does what most people do at first. He buys the S&P 500. It's the default for a reason. 500 of the biggest American companies in one shot, and historically, it's been hard to beat on pure growth. Right now, it carries a dividend yield of about 1.02%, with dividend growth running near 5.58% a year and share prices appreciating around 13.53% annually. So he runs $10 a day through it to see how long it takes till he hits $5,000 a month. After the first year, John would have put in $3,650. By year 10, the account is projected to reach $71,133, paying about $286 a year in dividends. By year 20, the balance would grow to $330,071, with income projected around $607. And by year 30, it's projected to reach $1,257,848, over $1 million. So it worked, right? Sort of. Look at the income. On that $1.25 million, the dividends are projected at just $1,019 a month. That's the problem in one number, $1 million account, and it pays you $1,000 a month. And here's why. The way you actually build income is by taking those dividend payments and buying more shares with them, which pay you more, which buy more again. Reinvesting. That's the snowball. Except the S&P only pays about 1%, so there's almost nothing coming back to roll forward. The snowball never really gets packed. To reach $5,000 a month at that pace, the S&P would need something like 122 years. Nobody has 122 years. The S&P isn't a bad fund, it's just not right for this particular job. So what is? Well, here's where most beginners go wrong. They see the 1% problem, so they overcorrect and go hunting for the biggest yield on the screen, 12%, 15%. And that's usually a trap. A yield that high normally means the stock price has collapsed or the company can't really afford the payout and it's about to get cut. The number looks great right up until it disappears. So John wants a yield that's real but not suspicious, roughly the 3 to 5% range. High enough to actually feed the snowball we talked about, low enough that you can trust it's still there next year. Then he wants growth. And this is the one that does the heavy lifting, a company that raises its dividend a little more every year. Say you get a 5% raise on your payout annually. That not only beats inflation, but also when you reinvest a payment that keeps getting bigger, the snowball speeds up on its own year after year. Last thing, a track record. Anyone can pay a nice dividend for one good year. John wants companies that have raised the payout through recessions, through rough patches, for 10 years or more. That's proof they can keep doing it. So those are the 3 filters: real solid yield, a good dividend growth, and a history to back it up. Run those, and you land on 5 very different stocks. Next, I'll show you those 5 stocks, and by the end, how a portfolio of those 5 is projected to cut the weight from 122 years down to 22 on the same $10 a day. And finally, we'll see how John makes it even faster, reaching the $5,000 a month target in 17 years. But first, let's look at the 5 stocks. The first one is the anchor, the Schwab U.S. Dividend Equity ETF, ticker symbol SCHD. It's not a single company, it's a fund holding 100 of the strongest dividend payers in America, screened for quality and consistency. It runs a 3.28% yield, has grown its dividend around 10.24% a year, and its share price appreciates near 8.98%. John starts here because it's the steady base everything else leans on. Then it gets more interesting. The second stock John adds to his portfolio is the Federal Agricultural Mortgage Corporation, ticker AGM. Most people know it as Farmer Mac. This one's a hidden corner of the market. It's a government-chartered company that keeps credit flowing to American farmers and rural land. Boring business, which is the point. The yield is a modest 3.21%, but the growth is where it earns its spot. The dividends climbed over 22.13% a year with 14 straight years of increases, and the share price has appreciated to 17.98%. That is the growth engine. Next, John wants pure income. And that is CubeSmart, known as Cube, C-U-B-E. It runs self-storage, all those units you drive past on the edge of town. It's a REIT, which means it's a property company legally required to hand most of its income back to shareholders, so the yield leads the group at 5.33%. Its dividend growth is steadier at 10.99%, and the price moves slowly at 2.65%. So this one isn't built to grow, it's built to pay right now. Then there's Nexstar Media Group with ticker NXST, one of the largest owners of local television stations in the country. The yield sits at 4.17%, but the payout history is the story here. Dividend growth running north of 24% a year, backed by a 12-year streak of raises, with share appreciation around 14.12%. That's the second growth lever, sitting right next to Farmer Mac. And the fifth is Travel and Leisure with ticker TNL, the vacation and timeshare company behind a lot of the resort clubs people book through. This one's the all-rounder, a 3.14% yield, 10.82% dividend growth, 8.97% appreciation. Not the highest at anything, but a little of everything, which smooths out the edges of the other 4. Now, John looks at that 5.33% on CubeSmart and figures that's the one carrying the portfolio. Fair guess, it pays the most upfront, and that early cash matters. But CubeSmart's job is to pay big now. The two doing the long-haul lifting are Farmer Mac and Nexstar, raising their payout fast so what they hand you keeps getting bigger. And reinvested, that's what compounds hardest over 20-plus years. SCHD sits underneath all of it as the steady base, and Travel and Leisure rounds out the middle. 5 stocks, 3 different jobs. Pay now, grow fast, hold steady. Now, the next step is figuring out what the whole basket pays as one number. And because John splits his money evenly, the same dollar amount into all 5, the portfolio yield is just the average of the 5 yields. So you add them up, 3.28 plus 3.21 plus 5.33 plus 4.17 plus 3.14. That comes to 19.13. Divide by 5, and you land at about 3.83%. That is the blended yield, what John's whole basket pays him at the start. You'll run the exact same thing for the other 2 benchmarks. Average the 5 dividend growth rates, and you get 15.65%. Do it again for share price appreciation, and it lands at 10.54%. So that's the basket on paper. 3.83% coming in, 15.65% growth stacking on top. Now John runs the same $10 a day through that, the exact test he gave the S&P. Same money in. Watch where it goes. First year, he would have invested $3,650. By year 10, it starts to show. The balance is projected to reach $76,825, paying about $3,763 a year. Still building, but you can see the shape of it now. By year 20, the account is projected to grow to $509,927 with income projected around $41,484 a year, which is $3,457 a month, showing up without John selling a single share. And by year 22, it crosses $5,000. The portfolio is projected to reach $756,829, and the income projected off of it lands at $67,605 a year, and that's $5,634 a month. Let's quickly go back to the S&P 500. To pay John $5,000 a month, it needs around 122 years. Look at the line. It slowly lifts off the floor. The portfolio hits that $5,000 in about 22 years. Same money in, and it's more than 5 times faster, about 100 years apart. And the curve bends upward much earlier and goes far steeper, so the payouts projected past that point only get bigger. So after seeing that, John asks the obvious question. If $10 a day gets him there in just 22 years, what if he puts in more? What if he, say, triples it, $30 a day in the same 5 stocks? Well, here's what the projections show. First year, same deal. He's just loading it in, $10,950 in the account. By year 10, it's projected to reach $230,476, paying about $11,289 a year. Faster off the line than the $10 path, no surprise there. Then year 15, the portfolio is projected to reach $594,628, with income around $37,960 a year. At year 17, it crosses the $5,000 a month target, with the portfolio projected to reach $863,612, dividends landing at $60,853 a year, or $5,071 a month. Over those years, John put in almost $106,000 more out of his own pocket. Interestingly enough, all that bought him was a 5-year head start. And that's the part that catches people. Tripling the daily amount didn't triple the speed. The $10 path took 22 years. 3 times the money only pulled that into 17 years. 5 years faster for 3 times the cash every single day. Because the extra money only buys speed. It doesn't buy compounding. The income comes from dividends growing and reinvesting over time. And time is the one thing $30 a day can't manufacture. The snowball rolls at its own pace, no matter how hard you pack it at the start.